Right, continuation of the Cummins project, I suppose. I've had her on the road now for near enough 6 months. We've already been through one transfer box, as has been stated in a video. Now we've come across our latest issue. Also finally got some air intakes on it, which was going to be this weekend's video. However, I decided to investigate a slight oil leak. When I say slight, I've been noticing recently it's been getting pretty bad. So, bring attention to down here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it with the camera. No. Well, basically what has happened is where the transfer box is bolted on to the gearbox, on either side now there are 2 lovely cracks, which is where the oil's coming from. So the gearbox is coming off. Engine's having to come out to do so because the bolts to the bell housing are up there. I may be able to just pull the gearbox off. We're gonna pull the covers and have a quick investigation. Right, I've got the covers off. So there's the gearbox there. Looks absolutely lovely. I was first of all thinking, no, I can get the gearbox off without having to take the engine out as well. Get to all the bell housing bolts a lot easier than I was expecting. Well, not expecting, but could remember. And then obviously I realised we have a little clearance issue down here. We're not going to be able to move her back. Now I might be able to drop the engine off, sorry, the gearbox off of its mounts and drop it down. Whether this is going to be enough clearance, well, actually I can take that off, that's not an issue. But getting it off is probably not going to be so bad. However, I wouldn't mind pulling the engine out because some of these manifold bolts really, like that one there and that one there, they really could do with being removed and something new, something being dealt with there before there's any issues. And then the whole engine, frankly, I should have pulled my finger out and give it a good paint whilst it was out. But if I'm honest, I frankly do not want to be pulling this engine, not unless I really have to. So I think I probably will go for just a gearbox removal first and see how things go. Right, I am in the landy. It's been a week or so now since I started this video, but the transfer box is off. We're investigating a crack that was on the gearbox and a major oil leak. Well, I've worked out the major oil leak was due to the fact that I filled the transfer box twice. Because I can't get to the level plug with this conversion, because, well, I put the handbrake on before I filled up with oil, which stops me from being able to get to the level plug because the cable runs right in the way. So I know it takes 2 and a bit litres of oil, so I poured 2 and a bit litres in the top. Obviously I forgot I'd done it and I'd done it again, so that would have been the cause of the major oil leak since the transfer box was changed. Now the cracks is actually part of the engine, the gearbox mount, which are just here. Hopefully you can see. Those 4 bolts are what holds the adapter plate on, and 2 of them have basically just cracked away. So what now needs to happen is this. I was going to split this back section off the gearbox, thinking the gears may be contained inside it, but what actually happens is the gears are mounted to that back section and that casing slots over it. So the whole gearbox really is going to have to come out too. I'm going to have a look into getting that repaired and made a bit stronger. If it can't be repaired, then it's going to need a new gearbox, just purely because those mounting brackets are broken. I mean, the gearbox itself will go again for a normal lorry, absolutely fine, no reason why it wouldn't. All that somebody needs is the yoke to go on the end of the shaft, and then all I have to do is just drop a new gearbox on, and go from there really. So next job is take the gear lever off, disconnect the reverse sensor. There's a ground on the clutch. I've got to disconnect the clutch air and fluid, and then remove the cross member. I'm told these engines should balance on the engine mounts with the gearbox off, so well, I'm not going to take any chances. I'll axle stand the front and back of the engine, and then with this lowered down to give me a bit of clearance around here, and then I'll pull the old girl off, get an engine crane in through the door, but this will only happen once it stops bloody raining. So time to crack on. Right, well I got the gearbox out, loaded in the back of the van. Again, there is the 2 broken lugs, so we'll see if somebody can fix that. If not, then we'll be getting a new gearbox. And for some shits and giggles, then we got the clutch and flywheel. The bloody bearing on the inside has dropped down, so I'm going to have to pick that up now and seat that in. I might change the clutch on there. I mean, there isn't exactly anything wrong with that one, but whilst it's apart, it probably would be a good idea to do. That's it really. I did, to stop the clutch oil all coming out, I put a cap on the end of that, so is it just, all I got to do next time is just bleed that cylinder through, and instead of having to do the whole pipe run and let it bleed out dry. Bit of a pig to get out. It's going to be even worse to get in. But next bit of the video is going to be the repaired section of the box, really.
Right, well, me and Chris are here working on this Cummins again. So the gearbox is in the workshop now. You saw the damage on the casing before, so well, we stripped the tranny down. Chris managed to get hold of a new end plate for the transmission locally for a good deal, so that was a bit of a saving grace there. So we're just going to flip that plateware around with a new one, but obviously to do that you've basically got to strip the whole gearbox down. All the shafts and all were attached to that end, and the selector arms and everything, so that's what we're in the middle of stripping at the moment. The box is over here gutted. This is a good opportunity to give it a good clean out and a nice fresh bit of oil, and generally check it over, but it actually looks to be in well, pretty much immaculate condition. There's no chips or chunks missing or anything like that, and the magnet is pretty clean in the bottom. So we're going to strip this down now. Right, so we've just pulled that end casing off now. We actually decided in the end to stick a little mini ratchet strap around the whole lot, because the way it sits in the housing, the selector arms obviously you can't get off, get out of the way, because obviously they're on the sync rays on the shaft. So we figured it'd actually probably be easier to just tie it all together, lift the whole lot out, and then just drop the whole lot back in, because they're not actually taking anything apart internally. We're literally just changing that plate over. So to try and save the hassle of putting all that back together afterwards, we are going to do it like that, hopefully. We have just managed to drop a little tiny plate though, and a ball bearing, so we are currently on the hunt for that, so hopefully that will turn up in shortly.